Welcome! In this particular video, we'll be utilizing the law of cosines in order to find the measure of a missing angle when we're given the three sides in a triangle. Let's take a look at our example. Example, find the measure of angle B. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. Immediately in this particular case, what I always suggest you do is to label the sides. Recall that the side across from angle A, it's denoted as lowercase a. The side across from your angle B is denoted as lowercase b, and the side across from angle C is denoted as lowercase c. So let's identify what we already know. We already know that A is equal to 12 inches, B is equal to 27 inches, and C is equal to 19 inches. What is it that we want? What is our goal? Our goal is to figure out the measure of angle B. That's what we're being asked to find. Now, taking a look at the law of cosines, we can actually determine which statement we want to use. Since our goal is to figure out the measure of angle B, we want to use one of the statements that actually use angle B. In particular, we notice the two statements in the middle. Now, since we're given the actual measures for the sides, okay, for all three sides, one might be tempted to use the first statement. However, we can actually use the equivalent statement because it will be more direct. Notice we can just substitute everything into the right hand side. So I'm going to be using this particular statement, the equivalent one. So I'm going to be writing cosine of B is equal to a squared plus c squared minus b squared all over 2ac. And we can substitute in the values. We don't know the value for the measure of angle B. In fact, that's what we're looking for, so we're going to just leave it as cosine of B. And that is equal to a squared. Well, a is 12, so a squared becomes 12 squared, plus c squared. Well, c is 19, so c squared is just 19 squared, minus b squared. Well, b is 27, so b squared is just 27 squared. All over 2 times a, which we said was 12, so 2 times 12, times c, which we said was 19. Now, our ultimate goal is to get the b by itself. So, we need to get rid of the cosine. Now, remember that in order to cancel the cosine, we need to actually get or take the inverse. So we're going to take the inverse on both sides. So we take cosine inverse of cosine of b should be the same as cosine inverse of this expression, 12 squared plus 19 squared minus 27 squared, all over 2 times 12 times 19. And once we actually do the composition here, cosine inverse of cosine of b, the cosine and the cosine inverse cancel each other, so that will just give you b. So b is equal to cosine inverse of 12 squared plus 19 squared minus 27 squared over 2 times 12 times 19. So this is what we refer to as the exact solution. However, we're asked to find an approximation. That's why they said round to your answer to the nearest tenth. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the technology to input this particular expression on the right and see what is the approximated answer. In this particular case, I'm going to be using my TI Inspire for that. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull out my TI Inspire, and I'm going to take cosine inverse. I need to make sure that I'm using degree mode, which is in case of fact here. And then I'm going to go to trigonometry here and take cosine inverse of the following: 12 squared plus 19 squared minus 27 squared. and I'm going to divide all of that. So I'm going to put in another parenthesis here. Close my parentheses here and divide that by, let me open another parenthesis, 2 times 12 times 19. And I'm going to hit Control Enter. And I get an approximate value here. Now, I need to round to the nearest tenth, so I see that the 4 is in the tenth position, and the digit right to the right of it, it's a 2, which is one of the lowest 5 digits. So I'm going to round this number to 119.4. So going back to my document, I can say that B is about 119.4. Now putting this into the context of the problem, this is the measure of the angle, so we can say therefore the measure of angle B is about 119.4 degrees. So you notice, just to summarize this particular example, we were given the 3 sides in the triangle, and we were being asked to find the measure of a missing angle there. So we found that particular measure by applying the equivalent statement of the law of cosines, and we use the technology to get an approximation and to round it to the nearest tenth. So I appreciate you watching this particular video. I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.